Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Officer Eric Huffnus. I'm a patrol officer here at the College of DuPage Police Department. Welcome to the first of what we hope to be many videos that myself and other officers are going to participate in, with the overall goal of getting you, the COD community, better acquainted with our department and our officers that serve in your community. With us today, we have Officer Kyle Gunderson. Kyle, thanks for being here with us. Appreciate
Pleasure
you.
to have me.
So I think we should just dive right in. You know, the proverbial elephant in the room. We work on a college campus.
Yep.
I think a lot of the college community would like to know about if we do any kind of active violence training here, the things that we do. So if you'd want to just dive into that subject.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's on the forefront of everyone's mind. I feel like it's in every news cycle as much as it is. So essentially, when we're talking about active violence, I think it's more commonly referred to as active shooter. God forbid that day happens, but we as a department prepare for it every single year. We have yearly training for active shooter, and we do it in conjunction with Lyle Woodridge Fire Department, and we do it on campus every year.
Real quick, why do we do it with Ella? Do you want to explain to them
Yeah,
why
yeah,
we do
sure.
it with Lyle Woodridge, not
Yeah.
some other different PD?
Yeah,
Everyone's
so
probably wondering Lyle Woodridge and COD.
whenever we request for the fire department or paramedics, they're coming from Lyle Woodridge. So that's the fire department we use. So in the event of a situation like an active violence situation, they would be the ones that would respond. And so it's important that when we do that training, it's with the actual people that are gonna respond in that incident.
Absolutely. And I had the opportunity, one of the times we did this active shooter training, we won't go too crazy into it, but we have like this incident command system and stuff like that. And one thing we do with that is we usually have a senior level of somebody from our PD and a senior level somebody from their fire department working in, it's called unified command, right?
Yep.
So if they're here in our radio traffic, we're here in their radio traffic, we have the ability to talk to each other on these different channels. That way, just the ability to hear each other and communicate with each other, I think is huge when it comes to active shooter stuff.
And that's really what we've learned in going through this over the years. Like that's working through a lot of the hiccups we've had. Because every year you're still learning stuff on how you could better respond. And that came from a lot of years of trying to coordinate efforts between the police department and the fire department, them being too far away to communicate together. So we weren't getting the fire department's traffic and they weren't getting our traffic. So by having that unified command together, you're able to have someone who's removed from the scene that's able to like see the whole picture and relay that information back and forth. So it's extremely helpful.
Yeah. And one other thing with Lyle Woodridge, if you want to touch on, it's called RTF.
Yep.
Rescue Task Force. Just another thing that we train with Lyle Woodridge. I think it's huge for just the better outcome of a situation such as that.
Yeah. So again, you touched on a rescue task force. Essentially, I don't want to get too in the weeds with it, but it was actually made within the last, 10, 15 years as a response to an increased amount of casualties in these active violence situations. Previously, what they would do was they'd wait for the scene to be completely safe in the entire building, every room to be cleared before the fire department went in, right? And so this rescue task force, what it allows you to do is have the police and the fire go in a warm zone, so not where the threat is, but kind of in the area where you could be. And so you send a couple police guys with a few medics into this warm zone. So in the event that there is a threat, those fire guys aren't on their own. And it allows you to take those people that could be given life-saving medical care and get them out of there earlier, so it increases their chances of survival. So it's really been in a response to all these horrific tragedies and how we better prepare for them and respond to them.
No, absolutely. I think our training with Lyle Woodridge is paramount on how we would respond, and it would be a great added benefit. One of the other added benefits I think we have here for our active violence training is the fact that we have that unique opportunity to where, like different municipalities, they don't necessarily know when it's going to happen, where it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Obviously, we can't predict that here, but chances are if something like that should happen, it's going to be in one of our buildings.
Yeah.
We have the ability to train in these buildings year-round, get to know the layouts, get to practice going into classrooms, responding to it in different situations. I think that's a huge benefit for us as a PD, being able to actually train in the areas that more chances than not, if something's going to happen, it's going to be here.
Yeah, I mean, you touched on, we know these buildings like the back of our hand for the most part. And so we're able to, when we do this training with Lyle Woodridge, we're able to simulate as real as possible, as close as to the real thing as we can. Say, for instance, where it happened on the second floor. Well, where's the closest staircase? All all these points of entry that we can get
Cool
people out.
tactical know-how.
Yeah, all the hallways, all the rooms, the closets. We can use that to our benefit to train to as real of a scenario as we can get. So it's really nice to be able to have that opportunity to come as close to the thing as we can. So in the event, God forbid it happens, we're going to be as prepared as we can be.
I know we touched on how we have the RTF in terms of Lyle Woodridge coming in, providing medical care. One thing, all the officers here at COD were also EMR certified, emergency medical responders. So we're trained in basic, life support stuff like that, nothing too crazy. But one thing we do offer here through the community, Mr. Community Outreach Officer, is one of the classes is Stop the Bleed, to where people here that say you are a victim of active violence, and not even active violence, say you suffer a car crash, you fall down, someone in your class cuts himself.
Yeah.
Skills that you could use in your everyday life to actually help better prepare you for an injury or something.
Yeah, we have those 2 classes that would be pretty much directly related to this sort of incident would be Stop the Bleed and Active Violence Preparedness. You touched on the Stop the Bleed, I can touch on the Active Violence Preparedness. So that class is, we offered it to the community as a whole. We've had, I don't know, probably half dozen to a dozen classes already of active violence this year. And it really touches on both the empirical stuff on what we've learned from previous events, and then it's very hands-on, which is, I think, the biggest part about it, because it allows you to barricade a door, for instance, or how to fight in the event that the threat's coming towards you, or what are some things you can do to increase your chances of survival. I mean, a lot of the time people don't think about that sort of scenario, but when it's kind of meeting you right in your face, it's something that you have to do, even though it might be uncomfortable for you, in order to increase your chances of survival in that scenario.
And I think it kind of goes back to what we said before, training in the academy, where if you're sitting there trying to think about how to barricade a door, you could probably, I think I could do it. But when you're like, hey, do it right now, the threat's coming, and we say whatever's in the room is at your disposal, people start to kind of, even though they know it's a completely safe, controlled environment, they kind of get that stress inoculation. They start kind of like, oh, what do I do? What do I do? And it's huge because, like I said, now you know how your body's going to react. Even, say there's some stress here and this isn't real. So God forbid it ever does happen. You kind of already fought through those kind of stressful situations and you can kind of help out. And like I said, it's cool to go hands-on. Our Lieutenant Munsterman, big guy, you actually get to, he puts on a big red man suit and you get to actually go hands-on with them and tackle them. So it's always fun to see your command staff get put down a little bit. No, I'm just kidding.
I don't want to give away too many secrets offered in the class because I think it's one of the greatest classes we offer. It's probably one of the most beneficial. It's applicable not only to being at the college, but we've had stories of people actually attending the classes, being in a similar type situation in like a grocery store or like in some other public place. And so it's not only applicable to the college, it's applicable to any sort of event that occurs. So like I said, it's very hands-on, and if you're uncomfortable with anything, you don't have to do it. But I really encourage everyone to do it because it really puts them out of their comfort zone, because it takes on a whole new meaning when you're asked to physically step up and do something, and that's not something that people really think about on a day-to-day basis.
And just to bridge to another one of our trainers, I know you mentioned people use it like at the grocery store and movies. We also offer a course called Situational Awareness, which just kind of talks about your overall awareness of where you are. I mean, I'm guilty of it plenty of times, sitting on my cell phone, walking down the hallways or something like that. I know we all are. It just kind of goes through how to stay in the color code. Like I said, we're not going to go too crazy with it, but just kind of talk about that and what exactly that entails.
Yeah, situational awareness, again, is, you think it's pretty simple sounding when you hear the word situational awareness, but it's really like your ability to not only just multitask, but be more aware of your surroundings. Like I said, I don't give away too many secrets of it. But
come to the class.
you gotta come to the class for it. I don't want to steal Officer Grubowski's thunder a little bit. But again, it touches on what are some things to look for that might be alarming, or if I'm like sort of hesitant on whether or not I think I should report it, kind of like the warning signs and things to look out for. If you're ever concerned about it, you can call the police department and we can come take a look at it. But like I said, it sounds like a pretty boring class, but like it's a very important
Way
for you
sell
to
it,
actually.
Kyle.
It's very important for you to attend it because, like I said, I don't want to give away any of the secrets, the secret sauce behind it, so to say. But it's another class we offer. But I want to circle back to the Stop the Bleed because I know you touched on it a little bit. But again, that's another class that's tied to that active violence class that we offer. And it's another very popular class because it's not only applicable to the college community, it's applicable, you said, to anything like car crashes. And so I can let you touch on that because you're actually one of the instructors for it.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things for that is you're not packing any real wounds. Don't worry. Not like other people that are queasy out there. But we do have some training aids that teach you how to, say, pack a wound, or we show you what a tourniquet looks like, how to actually apply it. Like I apply it real live right in there, show you can still use your arm and stuff like that. The principle behind it, different things that you could see in your everyday life that could use as a makeshift tourniquet, things that you shouldn't use, things that you should use, common, misconceptions you have with tourniquets. We talk about the different kind of bleeding, like venous, capillary, arterial, which ones are more serious, and just really, once again, hands-on training that makes you feel more comfortable so that situation arises where you need to apply somebody some medical attention. And also, it could also show that, hey, maybe you said you get squeamish when you're even doing it to the fake dummies or something like that. Realize your limitations and figure out, hey, how else could I be an added benefit to the situation? If I can't actually do something myself or I'm not comfortable actually providing first aid to somebody, how else can I be beneficial in this situation?
Yeah,
So
I feel like that's probably one of the most unforeseen benefits of a lot of the classes we offer is if it's something you're not comfortable with, at least it's in a controlled environment. You realize to yourself, hey, like I might not react the way I thought I reacted. Or in this situation, I know I'm not going to be the hero or I'm not going to be the one that's going to step up, which is totally fine. But coming to that realization in a controlled environment is huge because in that scenario, this is how I need to react because this is how my body's going to react to the situation. So I think that's probably one of the greatest takeaways you can get from those classes.
Absolutely. It's paramount to a good PD. And one thing I did want to mention to you, COD community, I know we're talking a lot about training, the training that we implement. And we want to make sure you know that the training that we're giving is the right training, by meaning it's on step with all the state mandates and best practices. So just to touch on that a little bit, a lot of our instructors are certified through, it's called ILETSB. ILETSB stands for Illinois Law Enforcement and Training Standards Board. We love acronyms in police, don't ask me why. But basically they're in charge of certifying all the officers originally when they go to the academy. Also, me and Kyle are both DT trainers. We're certified through ILETSB. So we have to send an outline into them. If they give it the okay, all our training can be counted as mandated hours of training. I know we are in a college community. My wife's a teacher. Mandated training for us is kind of like your continuing ed hours for teachers, where every year you have to go through so many hours of use of force or case law or search and seizure. We do the same stuff. Every year, every officer throughout the state of Illinois has to go through mandated training, and it's tracked through ILETSB. So that's how you know what we're doing is the right thing. Awesome. Well, thank you for talking with us today. I appreciate it.
That's it. We're done.
You're done. Just to end, my dad always said someone else already said it better, so why try and expand? So I'm going to use a quote. It's a famous quote from one of the Greek philosophers that his name escapes me, is, we don't rise to the occasion, we fall to the level of our training. And that's what I think our police mindset is here. We ensure that our officers are properly trained. We're always honing our skills, making sure that we have the best trained officers to enhance the community safety around here at COD. So rest easy at night. Kyle, thank you for coming in and talking to us.
Thank you for having me.